We meet again at last. The circle is now complete.
What's the world coming to?
Well, you got a problem with what I did, Anthony?
Oh, no. Hey, no.
Fucking rat anyways. Whole family's all rats. Would have grew up to be a rat.
Stupid bastard. I can't fucking believe it.
Gee, I'm real sorry your mom blew up, Ricky.
Now you're gonna dig the fucking thing. You're gonna dig the hole. You're gonna do it. I got no fucking line. You're gonna do it.
Yes, I'll take the fucking hole. I don't give a fuck.
I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was pure and simply evil.
Jesus Christ. Mister, you okay in there?
Put some Vintage coffees around here someplace.
Have you any idea what the cost of your actions is? What their effect might be? Or are you to give them hope? What do you give them? We give them happiness. And they give us authority. Groovy.
What's up, all you cool cats and kittens? It's your favorite Tiger Wrangler here, Logan Myerz, back doing Cinephellas Podcast, episode 68. And hopefully you guys are having a good day and staying healthy and staying indoors, as Mayor Lightfoot has been saying across the Chicagoland area with all the memes going on with Lightfoot. It's hilarious. Chicago forever! But hopefully you guys are all staying safe indoors with your family. With it being the lockdown, it's not an ideal situation, but you got to make the most of it. Hang out with your loved ones. Watch a lot of movies, TV shows, catch up, on some reading. Do some chores around the house, clean the house. Just stay busy. Keep your mind busy. That's what I've been doing. Working still in IT, doing the Cinephellas thing, and trying to stay busy with my hobbies as well around the house. And I feel a lot better about it. I'm looking forward to being able to go out again whenever this COVID-19 coronavirus BS is over with and all of us can go back to our normal lives, going to the movies if the movies are still there. And it's hard to say if they're going to release any movies this year with everything going on. Everything's delayed, towards the end of the year or next year, they're going to be releasing movies. So I really want everything to go back to normal, like all of you, and get back to normal life. And I'm really excited for the future, especially with Cinephellas here. We've been shooting a weekly or bi-weekly video podcast with the crew. For the first time ever, we did a Q&A, answered some of your juicy questions that you guys submitted via Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or emailing us. And we answered that a few weeks ago. I posted our video up on our YouTube channel. And then I just released the brand new Quarantine Series podcast with all of us and our good mate, Walker Sexy Ranger. Joined the video podcast with Niall, Henry, and myself, and we dived into a lot of movies, TV shows that we're watching. Currently in the lockdown, Chris touched on a lot of video games that he's playing, video games coming out, and just a lot of really great insight in video games. Since us here at the Cinephellas, we're not huge gamers, we do play, but we're not huge gamers like Chris, so he shared a lot of great, insightful information in video games you should be on the lookout for. A lot of great games that Chris was talking about you should be on the lookout for on Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation. But besides that, if you guys are staying up to date with the Cinephellas, go on over to our website, cinephellas.com. We always have some sort of movie review, either in the video or written format, entertainment news, official trailers, posters, our podcast, interviews, a lot of great content. So check us out on cinephellas.com. Go ahead and follow us and like us on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Cinephellas. And of course, over on our YouTube channel. But anyways, I had the chance of checking out this brand new sci-fi monster creature feature titled Sea Fever, directed by Neasa Hardiman. Irish director. Had the chance of interviewing her about this film. We touched on a lot of great questions, such as getting involved with the project, also writing and directing the film, wearing two hats, and how she really balanced that and made it work. And also some topics we talked about was her making this film on a boat. It's literally on a boat the whole time, and how scary that could be, for people with seasickness or just don't like the ocean, the open ocean. It can definitely play tricks on you in your mind. So she talks about, making a film on the ocean and, the terrible weather and things that happen along the way. We also touch on some other questions, what, films she watched for inspiration. This movie's much like Alien, The Thing, and I'd even say James Cameron's The Abyss, a very aquatic creature feature that, something is evil lurking below the water. She also has some upcoming projects that we should be on the lookout for. She's a very busy woman, very talented filmmaker. She actually won an IFTA Award in 2016 for Best Director for the film Happy Valley, which I have not seen, but she's very talented. She's always busy. She worked on Jessica Jones on Netflix, and she's got a bunch of projects in the works. So definitely a really great director, a really great visionary, a person you guys should be on the lookout for in future projects. And it's a really great sci-fi film, independent film, and Sea Fever is on demand and digital because obviously theaters are closed right now. But you can definitely check this movie out on Friday, April 10th. So I highly recommend it. But here is my really great conversation with Neasa Hardiman, the director and writer of the new sci-fi creature feature, Sea Fever. So let's get to it, shall we? Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Logan. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, trying to stay in there with everything going on in the world, but I got to check out your new movie today.
Yeah, it's a pretty weird time.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. It's all locked down here in Chicago, so been at my house for the past week.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, I checked out your movie today, had an absolute blast with it. Had some questions for you. So first of all, how did you get involved with this project?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, and I'm really glad you enjoyed the movie. That's terrific, and thank you for your kind words. I didn't so much get involved in this project as come up with it and then try to find producers who would work with me on it. So essentially, I love psychological thrillers, and I love sci-fi, and I love tense, propulsive stories. So that was really what I wanted to come up with, and because it's my first feature, I knew it was going to have to be moderately budgeted and in one location and with an ensemble cast. So I foolishly thought it would be a brilliant idea to set it on a trawler.
Mm-hmm. And I absolutely loved it too. They had that feeling of like isolation in the film that's perfect for like what's going on right now in 2020. Was there any particular films you watched for inspiration before filming?
Well, because I'm really nerdy, once I kind of knew what kind of territory I wanted it to be in because I love thrillers. So I knew I wanted it to have this sci-fi element. I knew I wanted it to kind of tip into horror but not be too much. There's like 9 frames of body horror in the story. But to give it that kind of edge, I knew I wanted that. So I basically just hoovered up as many films in that idiom as I could find. And also I think what I wanted to do in looking at all that kind of cinema was honor the audience, because the audience is so educated in this area and you don't want to make references accidentally. You don't want to fall into cliche. So you want to be quoting things, knowing what you're quoting, and then subverting and shifting and breaking up any kind of cliche ideas that are repeated tropes of that kind of cinema. So I suppose that was really what I was trying to do in terms of structuring the story. In terms of films that I really thought hard about, I mean, obviously Alien is a big reference, and I really love The Thing, which is also a big reference. But actually, in terms of tone and mood, the films that really worked for me, I loved Alien because I feel like it's a haunted house movie, and I really loved Arrival. Because I felt like that was the kind of tone and feel that I wanted, something that was uncanny and full of dread, but that wasn't an action thriller, that was more driven by the psychological unease than it was by action. And also Mike Cowell's early film, Another Earth, was a big influence as well, because the characters are so grounded and it's so emotionally truthful.
Absolutely. And I love, all the elements that, it reminded me much of The Thing, kind of what you're saying, and just really had this eerie vibe to it, and just the whole atmosphere in the movie is creepy, and I love that. What was the overall experience like filming this movie, especially on a boat?
It was tough. It was a tough shoot going on water, as I'm sure you know, it was really tough, and there were days and nights when we had to cancel because the weather was too bad. We had a maximum of 30 days to shoot, so it was pretty tight. I would say there's a good reason why people say don't ever shoot on water.
Yeah, were people getting seasick and all that?
Yes, there was seasickness. There was, and trawlers are so dangerous. More people die as a result of working on trawlers than any other work in Ireland and the UK. So I was really, really alert to the risks that the actors and the crew were taking in working on the boat, and we had to be super careful at all times. And I was always referring to the real skipper of the boat, who would make a judgment about whether it was safe for us to go out that day or not. And we were very lucky with the weather, but even at that, there was a night when there was a massive storm and we just couldn't film at all. But the actors were unbelievably brave and did all their own stunts, and all that stuff that you see of the burning trawler and Ardalan Esmaili and Hermione Corfield in that tiny little dinghy in the middle of the Atlantic, that's all real, and they really did that.
Wow, that's fantastic. You could see how grueling it could be to film a movie like this on a boat. I can only imagine. I'd probably get seasick and not feel the greatest. But it definitely creates a good atmosphere, a good, thriller like this movie, especially on the open ocean, When
you're out on the deep Atlantic, it's this weird combination of, the boat itself is incredibly claustrophobic, and you're living cheek by jowl with these other guys that you just can't get away from. The boat is tiny. But at the same time, like, you look around you and it's just nothing as far as the eye can see. And you're floating on top of the deep Atlantic, and as I'm sure you know, we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the biosphere of the deep Atlantic. So you're kind of on this unknown biosphere with nothing for days all around you. So it's a very odd combination of being really agoraphobic and really claustrophobic at the same time.
Absolutely. That's what I was thinking. It just creates super creepy atmosphere. I couldn't put myself in their shoes being in the ocean. I would start freaking out. My mind would play tricks on me, not knowing what's in the ocean,
Which, it really does. Sea fever is a real thing. They really, it really can affect people just being isolated like that, as you can imagine.
One of the things I absolutely loved about this movie is some of the underwater shots. Did you have an overall idea how you're going to capture these shots, or was that decided with like the camera cinematographer team?
I storyboarded all of that material because we had so little time. We had 3 days to shoot all the underwater stuff, so I storyboarded absolutely everything. And then what I really wanted for Hermione, for the actor, was that she wouldn't have to do that terrible thing of acting against a tennis ball, acting with nothing there. So I found two absolutely brilliant puppeteers who made beautiful, big, long tendrils that lit up in the water made of LED. And then we had the two puppeteers in wetsuits in this huge big tank with us in Sweden, moving these tendrils around. So Hermione was in her wetsuit with her gear on, reacting to something that was real in the water, which was also very useful, of course, because once you have light underwater, it's quite chaotic how the light gets bounced around through the movement of the water. So we couldn't really fake that in post-production. So that was real. And then we took that material into post-production, and then we drew over it in CG to make those tendrils more alive and more organic, and to get the bioluminescence a little bit more fluid.
Oh, that's so awesome. I'm a big fan of practical effects, so that's really, I was going to ask you, if it was like all CGI or if that was they actually made those. That's pretty cool.
No. And the little creatures that you see in the sink, when Johnny meets his horrible end, those little creatures in the sink, they're all live effects. So they were also made by the puppeteers, and they are tiny bits of seaweed with iron filings inside, and the puppeteer is underneath the sink with a magnet, moving the magnet around to make the little animals move in the sink.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have time for one more question.
Okay. All right, this is going to be a two-part question for the final one here. Do you have any upcoming projects in the works, and where can we find you on social media?
Well, I am on Twitter, and I have to get on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram. I've got to get on Instagram, but I am on Twitter, under my own name. I'm currently working on another grand of sci-fi, so I'm looking forward to bringing that to the world at some point. And at the moment, I'm in the middle of filming a 9-part Netflix political thriller, mystery thriller, which will be coming out later this year.
Holy moly, that's fantastic. Congrats. That's some big projects in the works, huh?
Wow. Yeah. Good to be busy, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to stay busy in these times. Well, it was fantastic talking to you and talking about this movie, Sea Fever. We're huge fans of it. Looking forward to everybody seeing this movie and loving it as much as we did.
Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. We'll post this interview next week, and I'll tag you in it on Twitter. You have a good rest of your day.
Oh, terrific.
Thanks, Logan.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
That was my conversation interview with Neasa Hardiman, the director-writer of Sea Fever. Really touched on a lot of great topics and questions. She's really insightful and really informative, the whole experience of making this film, of going into creating it, writing it, directing it, and then also filming it on treacherous waters. You know, that could be pretty terrifying for people that don't like, water or the open ocean. I'm sure it could be very terrifying for actors and what they struggle with on top of trying to remember their lines, coming across really bad weather. It's super windy, the water's choppy, just a lot of elements that really go into the filmmaking process that can really set things off and make it pretty eerie on top of the overall premise of the movie, which is, about this sort of parasite monster living within the ocean. And it can really play tricks on your mind, as we talked about in the conversation. And I can only imagine putting myself in their shoes, being, the actors, directors, anybody working on the film. I'm sure I would feel pretty uneasy at night, just complete darkness out in the ocean and filming a movie. She's definitely a director I'm going to keep supporting and watching her future projects. Lots of great stuff in the works and some stuff hitting Netflix. And hopefully she continues to grow in her career and get bigger and bigger projects, because she's very humble and down to earth and really sounds like a great person, really good head on her shoulders, considering the times we're living in right now with the whole COVID-19. She sounds very positive and sounds like she's going to really have a bright future ahead. So I'm really glad I had the opportunity to talk to Neasa today. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. And hopefully you guys go out and hopefully you guys support this film. Again, Sea Fever comes out this Friday, April 10th on digital and on demand. So definitely stream it, check it out. And I'm really interested to see what you guys think of the movie, because I really had a great time with it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. Really great performances, really great atmosphere. It definitely takes inspiration from films like Alien, The Thing, and even The Abyss. Really great all-around film. It's an independent film. These are movies that we want to support. And, for filmmakers like this, great visionaries that have great ideas, we want them to continue to make movies for our entertainment. And Neasa Hardiman is one of those directors and really fantastic human being, and a person I really had a great time talking to. But besides that, the future for the Cinephellas, we have another video podcast coming up shortly. Henry Hill's interviewing a guy about his new film, The Quarry. He's interviewing Scott Teems. And that will be posted next week, the week of April 17th. Niall has some more interviews. We have some more movie and TV reviews coming up. And Bob Ward is back. He's got a new comic book review that we're going to have on Cinephellas.com. So if you guys are into comic books, or if you're looking for something to read, Bob Ward is the man for you. He's all about the comic books. And we'll be posting his review of a new comic book this week on Cinephellas.com. So that's it for this week's edition of Cinephellas Podcast, episode 68. Hopefully you guys had a good time with this conversation. Again, go check out our video podcast, episode 67, that we just posted on our YouTube channel, and see all the different topics we talk about between the four of us, and get to see Walker Sexy Ranger talk about old video games, if you're into that type of thing. One more thing, I want to thank you guys for following Cinephellas on our website, YouTube channel, and social media outlets. It means the world to us. We do this for you guys. Put a lot of hours into this each week. It's something that we love to do. We love to talk about entertainment, movie, TV shows, and interview people, and just have a great time doing it. And we couldn't do it without you guys, so thanks for all your support and spreading the love about Cinephellas. This is Logan Myerz signing out from Cinephellas Studios, episode 68 of the podcast. Until next time, Cheers!